Hi everyone, welcome to my next video. It's such a nice night out here. I left Maggie and Sheppy in the house and decided to come out here to my little beach and show you these beautiful, beautiful clouds as the sun is setting. And appropriately enough, since the sun is setting, I guess in a way I am, because I'm growing old. And growing old is a great topic because I don't see it as many of these other channels talk about it with, oh my gosh, watch out for this, watch out for that. I see it as just simply a stage of life. It's that simple. There are many, many things that we can still do, many things that we can do that we never did, and many things that we can do better than we have before. So that's my take on getting old. But I want to show you these amazing clouds in this absolutely stunning sunset. Isn't that beautiful? And I don't know why these doom and gloom videos are so popular, but I can promise you that I will never be one of them. And I think about this growing old topic that's so popular. And let me tell you, let me get a little closer. Step up on these rocks here. It's funny because now that I'm older, I can look back and think how I was really afraid of growing old. It's just beautiful. And when I was 20, I used to think 30 was ancient. Oh my gosh, if I didn't have it all together by the time I was 30, I was doomed. I wasn't going to be able to do anything for the rest of my life. And of course, that was all implied through society, friends, parents. This is the structure you must follow in your life, Barbara, and this is what you must do. Well, I didn't. And when I was 30, I honestly thought 40 was old. Because don't they have something like a black theme when you're 40 at your birthday party? Isn't that sad? Why do people do that? Well, I thought 40 was going to be ancient. And when I turned 40, I thought, wait a minute. I don't feel much older. I feel great. Actually, I learned some pretty cool things when I was 40 that made me feel better than ever. And I wrote about it in my book, I See the Elephant. So 40 was a great time in my life. Very, very freeing, thought-provoking, and a huge amount of self-realization went on then. But I thought, okay, 50 is when I'll really be old. So I turned 50, and I think I was in the best physical shape I'd ever been because I had horses to ride. I went to an exercise class. I did weight training. I ran every day with my Rottweiler. And nobody believed I was 50 because I was in such great shape. And I thought, what's all this nonsense about turning 50? I feel great. That's ridiculous. There's nothing bad about turning 50. Well, of course I didn't have any health issues. And some people do. And I understand that. But I didn't. But 65 was definitely old. Because that's retirement age. And we're taught, whether consciously or subconsciously, that we are old news at 65. And we no longer are of value to the workforce. So we are to be put out to pasture like an old horse and enjoy our golden years and let the younger people take over the world. Well, we all know that isn't true because 65 is young. And as a senior, now that I'm 69, almost 70, I'm looking at 80 85, and I plan to still be in great shape, or as good a shape as I can be, rather. And you know what? This is going to sound funny, but if I'm ever physically limited, as long as I have my laptop and I can create YouTube videos and write books, I'm good to go. But I don't plan to be incapacitated. I'm going to keep going as long as I darn well can. And so, what's all this nonsense about growing old? And another thing, when I think I turned 50 or 60. No, I turned 60. And some of you women might be able to relate to this when you go clothes shopping. Because I used to look at these really cute outfits that I used to wear when I was younger. But I was afraid to buy them because I thought, no, I'm too old. What if somebody sees me wearing this outfit and thinks, oh, there's an old lady trying to look younger? And I was really insecure about that. So I stopped buying the nicer clothes I used to wear when I was younger. Because I didn't want to be that older person trying to look young. I wanted to be that older person still feeling young. Yet, I was too insecure to wear those clothes, so I didn't. But now, what's funny, that I'm 69, I wear whatever the heck I want. And I don't care. Because now, I know I deserve it, and so do you. So there is no old. Yes, there are certain things that are physically limiting as we grow older, such as being able to have children and all of that, for women that is. But you know what? Old is only in our minds. And I'll tell you something that relates to my aging process. When I was 50, I had a sudden issue with my back. And oddly enough, with all the work I did with my horses and the barn work, it happened in the middle of the night while I was laying in bed. And I felt this incredible, incredible jolt of pain down the back of one of my legs. And I thought, how the hell could that have happened? I'm just laying here. I mean, with all the work I do, how could I suddenly be in pain when I'm just laying in bed? Well, it was like a cramp that never went away. Can you imagine how excruciating that was? Well, long story short, I went to the doctor. I went to an excellent medical facility in New Hampshire, one of the best in the country, and they discovered a cyst on my spine. And I had to get it removed, which I did. But they said to me, Barbara, you have so much arthritis in your back. You can't do any more physical labor. You're gonna have this come back, and you're gonna be very, very limited for the rest of your life. Well, I just said, okay, thanks, and I went home. And I continued living the way I was, riding my horses, running, lifting 40-pound bales of hay, stacking them in my barn, everything. My life didn't change. Now here's an interesting ending to that particular issue, because suddenly, one night, about a year later, laying in bed again, I felt the same pain, and I thought, oh no, the damn thing came back. What am I going to do? They told me not to do all this labor, and I've been doing it. And they told me I'd have to need some more in-depth surgery. I don't want to do that. Well, I went to the hospital, and sure enough, the cyst was there. And they scheduled a time for me to come back. And I was terrified. I lived alone back then. I didn't have anybody helping me with my barn work. I had all kinds of dogs. Same independent life that I do now without the horses. Now, this is a true story, of course, as all my stories are true. I went to bed that night and I prayed and I said, please God, make this thing go away. I don't want to have surgery. I don't want to go through the long process of recovery. I don't have anybody to take care of me. I don't want anybody to take care of me. What am I going to do? Please make this thing go away. So I went to sleep in pain, and I woke up the next morning feeling absolutely incredible. And I walked into the kitchen to get my coffee, and I thought, what's going on? I'm not in pain anymore. So I called the hospital and I said, I don't know if I need surgery or not, because now I feel great. They said, well, come on in for another MRI. We'll check you out. Well, they did, and guess what? The thing completely disappeared. I was completely healed without an explanation. And they told me it's called spontaneous remission. And apparently hospitals and doctors have that phrase for when you have an illness and it suddenly goes away without any physical explanation or medical reason. And I was so excited. I looked at them and all, and I said, no, I prayed. I prayed to God. And the next morning, it went away. Well, they looked at me like I was an absolute nut job. But I didn't care, and I went home. Well, that was, let's see, almost 20 years ago. And I've been fine ever since. And I'm not going to slow down. I'm not going to do what the doctor said. Even though, I don't know. I think if I did give up all the physical work I'm doing, I think I would have more problems with my arthritis. And maybe that cyst would come back and press on my spine and cause me pain. But it went away by itself. And why did it go away right the day after I prayed? Just like that. They said it was completely gone. They couldn't explain it other than spontaneous remission. So what does that have to do with growing old? Well, to me, it means growing old can mean anything. It can mean miracles. It can mean sudden recovery. It can mean leading your life the way you want to, regardless of what other people tell you. And to me, remaining active is the best thing you can do for yourself as you age. Because I honestly believe that if I had stopped all of the work I had been doing outside, at the time taking care of my horses, and now of course it's living here off grid. Hear that squirrel? He's mad up in the tree for some reason. I honestly think that if I had become less active and somewhat, what's the word when you stop a lot of your activities? I really think I would be worse off today. And I think by being active, using my muscles, walking, hiking, all of that, sure, I'm growing older, but not old in the sense that I thought I would be. And you know what? I look at 90 like, bring it on. Sure, I'll be moving even slower. Of course I will. It would be silly of me to think otherwise. But I plan to still be moving, and that's the point. I do not ever intend to slow down until I have to. So if anyone ever tells you you're getting too old for something, I'm not going to tell you how to respond, but I would just smile and say, yep, whatever. And keep doing what you want to do and enjoy what you're doing. And I think that's also the key, to enjoy what you're doing, like looking at sunsets like this. It's just beautiful. Now I can't see this from my cabin. I have to come down the path to see this because in the previous video I showed you all the trees in the way. But I don't mind. I'm going to leave those trees there. I'm never going to chop them down. And if I want to see the view, I'll just come down here to my beach. It's all but a 30-second walk. Oh, it's such a beautiful night. I wish you could stand here and feel the breeze. It's so relaxing. That's That squirrel is really angry. I don't know if he's angry at me or what he's angry at. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear your comments on aging, how old you are, and if you've ever had an illness that's been a spontaneous recovery, such as me. That was absolutely amazing because I was in utter pain the night before, and I got out of bed the following morning completely fine. And when they did that MRI, they said, Barbara, we can't explain it. It completely disappeared. That cyst on your spine completely disappeared. And we've never seen that happen. And I was shocked. And they said, yep, it's called spontaneous recovery. So there you go. Miracles happen. And for all of us, there are miracles, no matter how old we are. So if you're 40 years old and you think 50 is old, I think 100 is old. That's what I think now. Who knows? I may end up being 100 years old. Doing another video, standing right here on my beach. Doing YouTube videos. So thanks so much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the clouds. And hopefully my inspiring talk about growing old. And my experience with this one miracle, which I so believe it was. So take care, everyone, and I hope you had a really, really great day.